And then this weekend, I know you never get to pick these things, but I've had a tough game against Villa and the toughest in the Champions League. It would have been nice just to have got a West Ham at home job, wouldn't it, in all honesty?
Yeah, definitely. This is it. Liverpool's fixture list recently has been a bit ridiculous, and it just continues in this one. They've surely got a kind of run of really kind fixtures coming up somewhere, because it just felt kind of relentless really since the start of the season. So, yeah. But the fact is, if you lose some of the games as well, where you would hope you'd get more, even though Palace away is a tough one, you would hope to get more there, and losing to United at home is a blow. It puts pressure on you to get results in some of the games where you wouldn't really maybe think that you have to get something, generally speaking, and Manchester City is one of those, and Liverpool, they've got to go there and get a result really to kind of keep themselves within touching distance of a title race, with any hope of being in a title race. I almost feel like they've got to win really, because I just think if Arsenal extend that gap anymore, then it's already at this early stage is pretty much over, to be honest.
Yeah, it does feel that way. This almost feels like Arsenal's perfect fixture in a way. And I mean, we've had a poor run, we can say that up until now, but it's definitely looked better and pretty good last night at the same time. They will go into this with a bit of confidence now, won't they?
Yeah, you would hope so. They should do, because, like I say, the underlying performance is there. And I think what's nice is that they know, or they would think really, that Villa and Real Madrid and Man City probably similar approaches, try and build from the back, try and be patient in possession. And, particularly the Real Madrid game, I mean, I think Liverpool will just possibly go exactly the same tactics, exactly the same approach, because, if you can keep City to that kind of really sterile possession and manage their threat in that way, and then be a threat in transition themselves, and that is exactly how they want the game to go. So, and it's a good way you can see the game possibly going as well, Manchester City away. So that should be the aim, and they'll be full of confidence that they can pull that plan off, having done so against Real Madrid on Tuesday.
I was going to say, how do you think they go? Because you think back to last season, we almost played like two false tens, didn't we? And Wirtz could be involved in that. You could make sure, you've got the box midfield. Do you think he will just be like, plug and play from last night, keep it tight? That's the way to go.
I don't see any reason to change it, to be honest, in terms of personnel or tactics. I mean, maybe a question mark over Robertson. Did he seem to get a little bit of a knock at the end? So we'll see what's going on with that. But, Tuesday to Sunday is a decent turnaround. They've got a good rest now. So you could, in theory, go with the same 11. And I think the tactical approach is something that should really fit nicely with what City are going to try and do. So unless City throw an absolute curveball in, I think Liverpool should go same again. And there's every chance it can work.
Yeah, you do hope so. And again, it sounds like I'm bagging on players a little bit, but does your gut tell you that Gakpo's probably going to come back in and Kirkes might get a start for this one?
Kirkes maybe, just because Robertson, can he do the 3 games in a week? That's the question mark, albeit, as I say, Tuesday to Sunday really helps his case for staying in the team, and his performances absolutely do. But I think Kirkes maybe. I'd be kind of surprised if Gakpo comes back in, just because I think Wirtz on that left-hand side, all the kind of ball-carrying quality gives you, what he gives you in build-up, etc. It just makes even more sense in an away game, to be honest, to kind of solidify that side. I think Gakpo, for me, is kind of the games where you're going to be on the front foot and you want goal threat in and around the box. He definitely provides that. Whereas Wirtz, I think, like I say, for trying to control possession, for trying to use the transitions and being able to kind of just hit the ball off him, and he can take it tight and move it on. He just makes a lot of sense in this game, really, for me. So, maybe a change at left back, but I think other than that, he should just go with what he's got.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what he does in that regard. And I think of what we'll have to do at City. Sounds a strange comment, but we're going to have to score 2 because the cyborg is just in insane form, and Haaland's got a shout to be the best player in the world on form right now, annoyingly, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what you would say is Van Dijk has generally managed him pretty well, and I think Liverpool's job is just to stop the ball getting anywhere near him if they possibly can. That will be the aim, because Liverpool have kept him quiet a few times as well, so they'll feel like they can do that. And the upside is, if he can somehow keep Haaland quiet, then nobody else is really scoring for them. So you could really manage City threat by doing that. But of course it's a gargantuan task to do that. He's an absolute freak of nature. But yeah, if anyone can do it, I think Van Dijk can do it. I think Canate is capable as well physically of matching him. So that'll be an interesting battle. And if Liverpool come out on top of that one, gives them every chance of winning the game.
Well, yeah, it does feel like that is going to be the ball game there and then. And you want to obviously continue, when we talked about momentum. I kind of asked you this the other week, but almost like if you could give Arne Slot a truth serum, do you think he'd take a point in this one to go 3 unbeaten before the international break, a tough away one? That he'd take a point without playing it almost, this one?
Yeah, he probably would. I mean, as I say, I don't think that will do any favours in terms of the title race, because if Arsenal win at Sunderland as they've got, then the gap's then what, 9 points, is it? And I think that looks already like too big of a gap to overcome, unfortunately. So I don't think it does them any favours. But in terms of Liverpool, where they're just trying to build a baseline, where the performances are good, the confidence is on the way up, a point away at City is by no means a disaster, is it? It's just unfortunate they've got themselves in the position they have, where probably only a win will do in terms of having any faint hope of the title. But he probably would deal on a point, but we'll see what happens in the game. And if you can get anything more than that, then that would be fantastic.
Yeah, what would be a brilliant result to finish. And I know we're finishing before the international break. As much as a few weeks ago we were like, bring us on that international break, and now we wanted to just like hold it back a bit because it's going better all of a sudden.
No, but I think if you get a good result going into it, then the confidence will be up, and it will be helpful. So that will be the hope, is that they can, if they just come out of this run in a better place and in a place where you can say, okay, well, if we come back and we keep putting in these performances, our position will massively improve in all competitions. That's really got to be the aim for them.
You hope so with that one. And you mentioned fixtures after the international break. On paper, it seems to be a bit easier because Forest at home, although we know what happened last season with that one, but Leeds to visit Sunderland. It seems more bottom half teams. The run just starts to look good if you can get back in good nick after the international break.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, worryingly, West Ham are now starting to show a little bit, aren't they? Which is, could have done with playing them a couple of weeks ago. But I mean, still, it's a game you'd think Liverpool would be able to win. And Forest, that being at home is helpful. Obviously, the Champions League PSV at home as well is a good one. Leeds are, the at home, they can be a threat and it can be loud there, but it's one you manage. And Sunderland, that being at Anfield, is definitely helpful. So it definitely looks like a kind of run. But Liverpool have had this coming for a while because, as I say, the run of fixtures previously has been awful. And I think they've got, you kind of look now on paper when they come back after the international break, all the way up to kind of Arsenal away in January is not too bad at all, really. Wow. Very, very winnable games in there. So you've got to kind of make that happen and deliver on that. But it's certainly looking better than it was. But again, kind of try and keep that confidence going by getting a result at the weekend. That would be massively helpful.
Yeah, game at a time, I suppose, on that. And I'll probably ask you one more, because a few put this in the chat panel, it's right to ask about, because you'd have seen that Ryan Gravenberch did the press conference. He was asked about his contract to say, very happy here, but not been asked anything yet. We'll see. People are wanting, naturally, Dominic Szoboszlai's on sensational form, so him tied down. It all seems quiet on him, but it all just seems a little bit quiet contract-wise at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah, so not really heard anything in terms of progressing on any of those, really. So, I asked kind of people close to Gravenberch's situation a few weeks ago, and they said nothing yet, but no panic yet. It's not in the period where they would be worried about that. Maybe we get to the other side of New Year and that's when he starts to talk about it. But, definitely one to think about with all of the midfielders, really, in terms of where they're up to with the contracts, because you'd like to tie them down. And, of course, the Canate situation is is still rumbling on as well, and we've had no progress as far as I understand it on that one.
Yeah, which you never know for definite, and we always say things can change quickly in football. But the fact we're on the 5th of November and he can sign a pre-contract, the odds are going down every day, aren't they?
Yeah, you've got to say and acknowledge it's a worry, but as I've always said, no indication yet from the players' side, and definitely not an indication that kind of talks have ceased or anything like that. So there's still always a hope. And look, getting a win over Real Madrid, that's always handy in terms of and the form improving, and the prospects of Liverpool winning trophies this season looking a bit brighter. So hopefully he'll be feeling a bit better about it. But we'll see if they can reach a compromise on that one.
Yeah, we'll see if anything develops, because it isn't a million miles away till January now either. But there we go, people. Real Madrid put to the sword. A 1-0 battering, you could call it. Plenty to like, plenty of great individual performances. Let's just hope we can replicate this against City on Sunday. All it leaves me to say as ever, for the time, the insight, and for answering all our questions, David, it is massively appreciated.
Thanks for having me.
And ladies and gents, that was another Media Matters Anfield Index.